Today we will discuss about facial nerve, which is seventh cranial nerve. We will discuss regarding introduction of facial nerve, its functional components, nuclei of facial nerve, course and relations of facial nerves, branches and applied anatomy of the facial nerve. So all of you know facial nerve is the seventh cranial nerve derived from the second pharyngeal arch. It is a nerve of second pharyngeal arch. It is having following functional components. The special visceral efferent component of the facial nerve, which is shown with this continuous red line, it supplies the muscles of facial expression, mainly the muscles derived from the second pharyngeal arch. The general visceral efferent component, which is shown here by the red dotted line. This general visceral efferent component supplies the secretomotor fibers to the lacrimal gland, sublingual and submandibular salivary glands. General visceral afferent component, which is shown here by this green dotted line, it receives the sensation from the lacrimal gland as well as sublingual and submandibular salivary glands. The special visceral afferent component, which is shown here by this continuous green line, it receives taste sensation from the anterior two-thirds of the tongue and surrounding area. And lastly, this component, general somatic afferent component, it innervates the skin of ear. Having discussed the functional components of the facial nerve, let us now discuss the nuclei of the facial nerve. This diagram shows the main nuclei of the facial nerve, which are motor nucleus, superior salivatory and lacrimatory nucleus, nucleus of tractus solitarius, and spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve. Motor nucleus of the facial nerve gives origin to the special fibers of the special visceral efferent component, which supplies muscles derived from the second pharyngeal arch. Superior salivatory and lacrimatory nucleus are related with the with the general visceral efferent and general visceral afferent component, which supplies lacrimal gland as well as sublingual and submandibular salivary glands. Nucleus of the tractus solitarius is related with the special visceral afferent component, which receives taste sensation from the anterior two-thirds of the tongue and palate. And the spinal nucleus of the trigeminal nerve is related with the general somatic afferent component, which innervates the skin of the external ear. So these are the main nuclei of the facial nerve. In this diagram, this is midbrain, this is pons, and this is medulla oblongata. The facial nerve arises by two roots from the lower border of the pons. Lateral part of the lower border of the pons. This is a site from where the facial nerve arises by two roots, the motor root and sensory root. The sensory root of the facial nerve is also called as nervus intermedius. Both the motor and sensory roots run laterally and enter the internal auditory meatus. Inside the internal auditory meatus, the motor root lies in the groove of the vestibulocochlear nerve with sensory root intervening. They are related with the labyrinthine vessels. At the bottom of internal auditory meatus, both the root unite and form the main trunk of the facial nerve. The main trunk of the facial nerve runs in the facial canal, inside which its course is divided into three parts. The first part, which runs laterally, the second part, which runs posteriorly into the medial wall of middle ear just above the promontory, and the third part runs vertically downwards behind the promontory. There is a band between the first and second part, that's why this band is also called as genu of the facial nerve, which is having a ganglion known as geniculate ganglion. The facial nerve leaves the facial canal by passing through the stylomastoid foramen. After coming out of the stylomastoid foramen, the extracranial course of the facial nerve is as follows. The facial nerve runs lateral to the styloid process, enters the posteromedial surface of the parotid gland. It runs through it and divides into five terminal branches, which you already know, which are temporal, zygomatic, buccal, which are two upper and lower buccal, marginal mandibular, and cervical branch. Having discussed introduction, functional components, nuclei, course and relations of facial nerve, we will now discuss the branches of the facial nerve. Branches of the facial nerve we will divide into four parts. The branches which are given within the facial canal, branches which are given after exit from the stylomastoid foramen, terminal branches, and communicating branches. The branches within the facial canal are three: the greater petrosal nerve to stapedius, and coda tympani nerve. Greater petrosal nerve unites with the deep petrosal nerve to form the nerve of pterygoid canal, which goes to the pterygopalatine ganglion, and postganglionic fibers from there supplies the lacrimal, nasal, and palatal glands. The nerve to stapedius supplies the stapedius muscle. Coda tympani nerve unites with the lingual nerve, and it carries taste fibers from the anterior 2/3 region of the tongue, as well as it also provides preganglionic fibers to the submandibular ganglion. The branches which are given after exit from the stylomastoid foramen are posterior auricular branch, branch to posterior belly of digastric and stylohyoid muscles. The posterior auricular branch supplies occipitalis and posterior auricular muscles, whereas branch to posterior belly of digastric and stylohyoid supplies the respective muscles. Terminal branches are five: temporal, zygomatic, buccal, mandibular, and cervical, which supplies the muscles of facial expression, which we have already discussed. And the communicating branches are given to the adjacent cranial and spinal nerves. Three ganglia are connected with facial nerve, which are geniculate ganglion, pterygopalatine ganglion, and submandibular ganglion. In supranuclear lesions of facial nerve, only lower half of the opposite side of the face gets paralyzed, whereas in case of infranuclear lesion of the facial nerve, whole of the face of the same side gets paralyzed, which is known as Bell's palsy. In Bell's palsy, whole of the face on the same side gets paralyzed. the face becomes asymmetrical and it is drawn up to the normal side. This is paralyzed side, this is normal side. The affected side becomes motionless. Wrinkles disappear from the forehead. Eyes cannot be closed on the affected side. Any attempt to smile draws the mouth towards the normal side. During mastication, food will accumulate between the teeth and cheek. Articulation of the lips becomes impaired. Tears flow out from the eye and there is continuous drooling of the saliva from the angle of mouth.